It is a needed technology that helps provide better performance outcome. So it helps the physician, the clinicians, all the care team to work better for their patient. It helps to provide better diagnostic. And overall, it helps everyone to work together as a one team around the patient. So we speak about the patient-centric approach. So I will walk you through a typical patient journey, right? A typical patient touch point, for example, for a stroke care, right? So we will first look at how digitalization, how IT can help the clinicians to better understand the patient they are seeing at the point of a consultation, understand maybe the history, understand maybe the family context, and so on. We will see what kind of tools are then available for the doctors to provide more educated, more accurate diagnostic with additional clinical insight that is provided by software and algorithm innovations. And later we will see how all this software landscape actually beneficiate the patient from the day of the consultation and over time, and also how it can incite the patient to come back to the hospital for their due follow-up and maybe for the longer care term. Okay, so we'll start with the patient history. So patient history, when someone walks into a room, when a patient walks into a room, you as a physician might have a lot of questions. What's the clinical diagnostic, I think, is the most important, but also, has the patient come to the hospital before? Is there any prior accident? Was there any prior finding? If the hospital do not have digital storage, if there is no archive, if there is no medical record, it is very difficult to find those information. Is it impossible? No. You can still go look through the paper record, maybe look through the films, look through any types of hospital archive. Will you do it? Unlike you can see now on the screen, is we always display the entirety of the patient history with a chronological timeline. So the physician do not need to look. They can even see things that they had not think about or that they wouldn't search. Okay. By the way, you might have also noticed my first illustration was a neuro case. This system is absolutely critical for stroke assessment, but also empower other clinical specialties such as cardiac imaging or maybe oncology care. Okay. So how does that help providing a better diagnosis? Overall, we really want to make sure the data is available and that the patient get the best care. Sometimes the best care is actually not about the equipment, but can also be about the staff. In 2023, unfortunately, all around the world, we see shortage of staff specialists, shortage of technicians, radiographer, or even radiologists, or any subspecialty. So at Siemens, we have launched a new innovation which allows to remotely control, scan, and run analysis on the patient. Everybody knows Zoom or maybe the WhatsApp call and so on. So we have done this for the heavier equipment where we allow specialized care team, for example, individual expert for brain imaging, to take control of imaging equipment that would be like 200 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers away and scan the patient. Right? So that allows to share knowledge between the different hospitals without having to have too many experts in the same field. And it allows also one individual to control multiple modalities. So it's really about scaling up and having the good bandwidth to take care of the hospital patient. Okay, so remotely accessing any types of radiology imaging is now possible through the remote scanning program. Once we have scanned, then it's time to look at the data. Right? It's time to look at the analysis, maybe the reading, maybe the post-processing. So this is also where leading institutions can embrace advanced post-processing or advanced diagnostic by standardizing the care for the patient. So we do that by putting all the available data into that one repository that is the VNA. And then we distribute those data to the relevant applications for the care team. I will pause here. It is very important. It's collecting data from the available equipment from any vendor, because this is how a hospital runs today, centralizing it around the patient, and then using those data in a smarter way to transform and provide advanced diagnostic. Let's look at it a bit more in detail, right? So I have my data around the patient. Now we want to look at, for instance, things that cannot be seen visually. So we have special tools that relies on, for instance, machine learning or deep learning, overall coming from a clinical innovation that allows to maybe score a patient faster, maybe assess a condition that will help you to decide the best treatment that will provide the best outcome for the patient. An example is the aspect scoring that allows to do non-contrast CT scan ischemic assessment. Right? So there is, with this quick screening tool, the patient do not need to be injected with a contrast enhancement, and the software will quickly assess the current brain parenchyma state. It assesses, it scores, and it helps to standardize the reporting. If a hospital is not using this tool, then every doctor will have their own visual assessment and their own estimations. We remove the assessment factor by providing quantifiable data, right? Another way to look at it is, for instance, now if you do have contrast agent available, if it is compatible with the patient, then we could also do CT brain perfusion, for example, where it will convert a huge stack of black and white data into color mapped clinical insights, right? That, for example, will give indication on the infarct, on the penumbra, and overall will guide the neuroradiologist to indicate whether they should go for the cath lab, for example, right? We do this automatically so that first, the training is short, and second is again standardized, so you don't have the user dependency, right? So we really want to automate as much the workflow as possible, so that every patient is analyzed with the similar technology. Here you see also a four-phase arterial, right? So the software will allow you to display side by side, also display videos and so on. So again, it provides the tool a clinician need to make the relevant diagnostic and decide on the next step for the patient. That's, in a nutshell, what a VNA and a data management strategy allow clinicians to do. Now, in my introduction, I shared about the patient and how it helps them also to be better informed and to be more diligent with their care plan, right? So along the VNA is not only for the physicians, but also for the patient. So everything that is stored inside the medical data repository can also be made available to the patient on their mobile phone or on their computer. So they have access to a medical report application where they can really see their images, they can see their reports, and it carries on with them, so they can access it whenever they want. If they go back to their family doctor, they can also share what happened to them and how they worked. So this is, for me, an overall introduction of digital transformation and what you guys can start doing by connecting and by storing and managing your data. If you think that this is a nice tool, but only a thing of the future, actually, SIS will prove you wrong, because everything I spoke about today is available in the SIS network, right? So we have implemented the national storage VNA that interconnect different centers across Vietnam. So indifferently from where a patient will go, the data will follow the patient for their next visits over time. And we have also an ambitious innovation and IT roadmap in place, so that what we do today only becomes better and better over time. It's important to keep in mind that they are official government guidelines with regard to patient data storage and so on. So the solution that SIS picked is actually helping also for the long term. So with that is the end of my presentation, and I will hand over to the next speaker.